Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, Waking Up Dead. Marshall Jamison Poetry. Marshall Jamison was a friend of mine, and a mentor, and a collaborator, and my teacher. And Marshall Jamison was a great poet. We've discussed Marshall Jamison here before in this Human Meme podcast, and if you go to humanmeme.com and do a search on his name, you'll find him. Today, in this episode, we're going to share some of Marshall Jamison's excellent poems that were previously published in David Boles' blogs, located at bolesblogs.com. These poems are timely and important. And more importantly, they read well, aloud. Before we begin, I want to share a story with you about Marshall Jamison. When he was retired and living in Florida, he had major surgery at one of the local hospitals. He woke up in the hospital on an operating gurney with all the nurses looking down at him, crying. Marshall looked back at them and asked, "Why are you crying?" And one of the nurses found her voice long enough to say, "We thought you were dead." Another nurse spoke through her tears and said, "You were dead for 4 minutes. We fought so hard to bring you back, and we thought we didn't," said another. "And now you're here," the first nurse said, now smiling against the inevitable. Marshall looked up at them all and said, "I've never been happier to wake up dead." Dear Isle Harbour, originally published May 6, 1999. One summer day, about 75 years ago or more, my younger brother Jim and I fished for flounders in the bay, under a cloudy mackerel sky. With the tide rising, our mother, good sport that she was, sat in the stern of Fred Beck's small white skiff and cracked clams for our bait. Now, we boys were not very good fishermen at that age, about 6 and 7 or 8. But within about 2 hours' time, we had hooked and successfully caught a pail full of flounders of all sizes. The largest, almost big enough to be deemed halibut. Our catch included a dozen or so ugly sculpins, which Mother unhooked with dispatch by whacking them mightily on the side of the boat. We tried our luck in the harbor again recently, but somehow, without our bait expert cracking clams in the stern, our catch was sadly limited to 2 tiny sculpins. After an hour or so, we left them for the seagulls. Hitting the Curve. Published May 6, 1999. My father was the smartest man I knew all my life, but he couldn't hit a curveball, or teach me, his eldest son, how to hit a curveball either. When I was 8 years old, my brother 6, we moved within walking distance of old Boston Braves Field in Allston, Massachusetts. There, where ancient Rabbit Moranville played shortstop, exhibiting various unique skills to which he was well known in the National League. The most appreciated by us loyal Braves fans was the vest pocket catch, when the grizzled veteran caught an infield fly in an imaginary vest pocket. Rabbit's partner, Moran, played second base. He shared my shortcoming. He couldn't hit a curveball either. Wally Berger patrolled center field, and he could hit a curve ball a mile. So could Sid Gordon, who played third base. The Braves, who had just traded away Babe Ruth to New York for a mess of pottage, my dad's description, staggered through the season in spite of our unqualified support. I never learned to hit a curveball. The Listener at the Minetta Tavern. Originally published January 27, 1999. On a corner in the village where McDougal Street meets Minetta Lane, still stands the ancient bar where Manny, the smiling bartender, poured and smiled and listened. Over a half-century ago and more, Manny listened to ancient scene designer Cleon Throckmorton and to his black-clad wife, Julie. Listened to Monty, the reporter from the Daily Mirror, to his pal, the Moose, and to Phil Cazaza, the fat wine merchant of Bleecker Street. Listened to Chelsea, the Italian tenor, and to Red, the musical plumber, and to an uncounted number of fledgling actors who, at one time or another, haunted the old Provincetown Playhouse just up the street. So Manny poured and Manny listened, in interested silence, his attention real, never phony or false. He listened because he cared about you, his fellow man, and you knew it. Too bad you never met him. But, they say, the real old-timers, that if you step into the Minetta Tavern to this day, you can still catch a little of Manny's spirit, if you listen quietly to what's going on. A Very Simple Miracle. Published January 6, 1999. This Christmas, the 80th of my sojourn on this blessed earth, a miracle, albeit a small one, occurred. Through the rapidly shortening days of November and into December, we watched our Florida garden as an ancient pink azalea, shaded from the sun by a tall orange tree, struggled to produce the blossoms which always came in January. This year, in the garden, as I read about St. Luke's words describing the Christ child's birth in Bethlehem, the pink azalea bloomed and blossomed on Christmas Eve. The Last Page. Published March 31, 1998. The last page of my big chief writing tablet begs me to fill its empty lines with words that mean this day has meant more than other days to me, because they do grow shorter as the years add up, and even an hour seems to run its course more swiftly. One hand of the clock hastening to catch its look-alike, only to hang there together, suspended in time, for a brief moment, before disengaging and moving on. It leaves this viewer somewhat short-tempered, even nettled for having used the precious moment to observe and record time gone by, even wasted. But was it? A Guilty Innocent. Published March 25, 1998. He was 15, his girl a year older, but not much wiser. Kissed him hard twice, drew a deep breath and told him, late, 5 weeks late. He responded to the kisses with passion, got up from the couch, ran a comb through his hair, and, smiling sympathetically, walked out of the basement playroom, out of her life forever. She never forgot or forgave him. After a long, long time, he finally forgave himself. An Irishman's Shanty, published October 17, 1997. Did you ever go down to an Irishman's shanty where the water was scarce and the beer is aplenty? A three-legged stool and a table to match it, a door without hinges and nothing to latch it. Tread on the tail of me coat, ha-ha, tread on the tail of me coat. If you're in for a row or a ruction, just tread on the tail of me coat. Golden-hair Bobby Bell sang the old songs in his clear tenor voice, and after I've heard them any number of times, I'd join in with him. He really had no choice. My friend he was, and as true blue as his Irish heart was green, and when we sang together, well, we sure lit up the scene. So on Saturday night we'd close the shop when the clock struck 10, and head for Rafferty and Kilgariff's ancient cobwebbed bar. Deep in God's true Irishmen, there they welcomed us, my friend Bobby and me, and often sang with us the words of many a come all ye. The maid of the sweet brown knoll was a favorite, often called for, and even good old Mother McRae brought out a loud encore. But the choice of all for Bobby and me was the lovely and haunting Rose of Tralee. The pale moon was shinin' way out on the mountain. The sun was declinin' into the blue sea as I strayed with my love by the clear crystal fountain that stands in the beautiful vale of Tralee. She was lovely and fair as a rose of the summer, but it was not her beauty alone that won me. Oh no, 'twas the truth in her eyes ever shinin' that made me love Mary, the Rose of Tralee. And so we sang until closing at that kindly place. When we left those good friends, every one wore a smile on his face. But I saw that Bobby had a tear in the eye. He just hated to say goodbye. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.